The relationship between Angola and the West goes way back. The Columbimbi Church, located in the former capital of Congo, was built by the Dutch in 1492. Resistance to colonialism during the 14th century becomes a common cause. Oppression, discrimination, and precarious circumstances unite them against a common enemy. Thus, modern nationalism is born. In 1956, the MPLA, or Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola, is founded, as are other nationalist groups later on in time, such as FNLA and UNITA. By 1961, diplomatic efforts to convince the Portuguese government to grant independence are exhausted, and a call to arms is headed by the population, a conflict that would last 14 long years.
I believe we are living at a very specific time, emerging from the terrible traumas of the past 2 centuries, such as slavery, wars of independence, invasions, and wars amongst ourselves.
In these images, Agostinho Neto declares Angola's independence. The revolution of April 25, 1974, was the catalyst of a decolonization process of territories subject to colonial powers. Notwithstanding the wars that would ensue for many years, President Dr. Agostinho Neto declared Angola independent on November 11, 1975. This moment will be forever remembered in one of his poems. With dry eyes against that irresistible fear of our Africa that we inherited from massacres and lies, we return to Africa, irresistible shining stars with the word written on dry eyes, freedom.
At a certain moment, Africa gained independence with presidents from cultural groups. They were writers, playwrights, people who had a cultural influence and close ties to art.
But Neto dies. A 37-year-old young man, engineer José Eduardo dos Santos, becomes president of the Republic, thus succeeding Agostinho Neto. Here, José Eduardo dos Santos declares that victory is at hand and the struggle continues.
É apenas uma substituição necessária. A luta continua e a vitória é certa.
But with the death of President Neto, the war takes a turn for the worst. This turned Angola into the last theater of the Cold War because it captured the attention of foreign powers such as the United States, the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, and South Africa. Namibia gains its independence as the last Cubans leave Angola. The New York Accords are signed in 1986. In Bicês, Portugal, more than one accord is signed in 1991, giving rise to multi-party politics in Angola. The war stops, and the first elections are held. Although they are considered free and fair by the UN, they are rejected by UNITA. Thus, the war starts anew, although this time it is more fierce and violent and thousands of people die. It isn't until April 22, 2002, that peace is restored.
I think it's necessary, after 26 years of war, that we engage in some serious reflection so that we do not find ourselves in a situation which might lead back to war.